Let me look you in the eye and ask you a question that most people are too terrified to answer. When was the last time you truly, deeply, and violently forced yourself to do something that made your blood run cold? I am not talking about a little bit of sweat or a minor inconvenience. I am talking about that gut-wrenching, soul-shaking terror that hits you at 4 a.m. when the house is silent and the weight of your unfulfilled potential is crushing the air out of your lungs. You hear that voice, do you not? That smooth, seductive whisper that tells you to stay small. The one that tells you it is okay to be average because the world is a hard place. The voice that tells you that you have done enough for today. That voice is a liar. It is a thief. It is the assassin of your greatness. And every single time you listen to it, you are signing the death warrant of the man or woman you were supposed to become. You think you are stuck because of the economy. You think you are failing because of your boss or your upbringing or your lack of resources. But the brutal truth that nobody wants to tell you is that you are trapped because you have become a worshiper at the altar of comfort. You have traded your throne for a soft bed and a warm blanket. You choose the familiar ache of mediocrity over the terrifying possibility of growth. And I understand. I really do. It is human nature to seek safety. But safety is where dreams go to rot. Safety is the cage that keeps the lion from ever knowing his own strength. You need to understand that the version of you that exists right now is the enemy of the version of you that is waiting to be born. There is a war happening inside your spirit, and it is a war of attrition. On one side is your past, with all its excuses and its heavy baggage. On the other side is your future, calling out to you from the mist, demanding that you step up and claim what belongs to you. Most people spend their entire lives negotiating with their excuses. They treat their feelings like they are some kind of divine truth. They wait until they feel motivated. They wait until they feel inspired. They wait for the stars to align. Let me tell you something about those stars. They are never going to align for a person who is sitting still. Motivation is a ghost. It shows up when it wants to, and it leaves when you need it most. If you build your life on the foundation of how you feel, you are building on quicksand. You have to be able to act when you feel like death. You have to be able to move when your heart is heavy and your mind is screaming at you to stop. That is what it means to force yourself. It is an act of internal violence against the part of you that wants to be lazy. It is a daily betrayal of your lower self. You have to look in that mirror and realize that the person staring back at you is the only one who can save you and the only one who can destroy you. No one is coming to rescue you. No one is going to hand you a map to your dreams. You have to carve that map out of the stone of your own resistance. Think about the tragedy of a life half lived. Think about standing at the end of your time, looking back at all the doors you never opened because you were afraid of the draft. Think about the people who depended on you, the people who needed you to be a giant, but you chose to be a shadow because it was easier. That is the real pain. The pain of discipline weighs ounces, but the pain of regret weighs tons. You can choose the discomfort of the grind today, or you can choose the crushing weight of what if for the rest of your life. Every single morning is a crossroads. Every single alarm clock is a challenge to your character. When you hit that snooze button, you are not just getting 5 more minutes of sleep. You are casting a vote for the version of you that settles. You are telling the universe that your comfort is more important than your calling. Stop doing that. Stop lying to yourself. Stop pretending that you have forever. You are dying every second. Your time is a finite resource that is leaking away while you scroll through other people's lives on a screen. Get up. Move. Do the thing that scares you. Do it while you are shaking. Do it while you are crying. Do it while you are doubting every single step. Just do it. Because on the other side of that forced action is the only thing that matters. On the other side is the person you were meant to be. This world is full of people who talk. It is full of people who plan and people who dream and people who wait. But the world belongs to the people who do. It belongs to the ones who are willing to be uncomfortable for as long as it takes. It belongs to the ones who understand that growth and comfort cannot live in the same house. You have to evict comfort today. You have to make yourself your own drill sergeant. You have to be the one who pushes when there is no one else to push you. This is not about being happy. This is about being great. And greatness is a lonely road. It is a road paved with the bones of the excuses you had to kill along the way. It is a road that requires you to be ruthless with your own weaknesses. You have to stop being so soft on yourself. You have to stop accepting your own lies. When you say you are going to do something, do it. When you set a goal, hit it. When you make a promise to yourself, keep it like your soul depends on it. Because it does. Your self-esteem is built on the promises you keep to yourself. Every time you break a promise to yourself, you lose a little bit of your power. Every time you force yourself to keep it, you become a giant. I want you to feel the fire again. I want you to remember why you are here. You were not born to pay bills and die. You were born to leave a mark. You were born to shake the world. But the world will not shake until you shake yourself out of this stupor. You have to be willing to walk through the fire of your own doubt. You have to be willing to be the villain in your own story of comfort so you can be the hero in your story of destiny. This is your moment. This is your time. No more excuses. No more delays. No more maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow is the graveyard of potential. Today is the only day you have. Force yourself. Push yourself. Break yourself if you have to, but do not stay where you are. There is a higher version of you waiting. He is stronger than you. He is braver than you. He is more successful than you. And he is waiting for you to have the courage to leave this comfortable version behind. Are you ready to meet him? Are you ready to pay the price? Because the price of greatness is high, but the price of mediocrity is even higher. It will cost you your soul. It will cost you your peace. It will cost you your one chance at this life. So get up. The work is waiting. Your future is waiting. And the only way to get there is through the discomfort you are trying so hard to avoid. Embrace it. Love it. Let it be the fuel that drives you forward. Because that discomfort is the evidence that you are growing. It is the proof that you are finally alive. That first step was just the beginning. Most people can find the strength to be a lion for 1 hour. They can get fired up after a speech. They can run a mile when the music is loud. And they can feel like a king for a fleeting moment of inspiration. But I want to talk to you about the second hour. I want to talk to you about the second day. I want to talk to you about the dark, lonely middle where the applause has died down and nobody is watching you anymore. This is where the real war is won. You see, the world is obsessed with the beginning and the end. They love the startup story, and they love the trophy ceremony. But nobody wants to talk about the monotonous, grueling, soul-testing grind that happens in between. This is the place where most people quit. They quit because it is not fun anymore. They quit because they do not see the results yet. They quit because the bridge between who they are and who they want to be feels too long to cross. But listen to me. The bridge is not made of stone. The bridge is made of the times you forced yourself when you were tired. The bridge is made of the mornings you got up when the room was cold and your body ached. The bridge is made of the moments you chose the work over the distraction. You have to understand the law of the harvest. You do not plant a seed and eat the fruit the same day. You have to water that seed in the dark. You have to protect it from the weeds. You have to trust the process even when the ground looks empty. Most of you are looking at the ground and crying because nothing is growing, but you have not even finished the first week of watering. You are looking for a hack. You are looking for a shortcut. You are looking for a way to get the glory without the guts. There is no such thing. The only way to the top of the mountain is to climb it, one painful step at a time. And here is the secret that the winners know. The pain of the climb is what makes you strong enough to stand on the peak. If someone dropped you at the top by a helicopter, you would freeze to death because you would not have the lungs for the altitude. You need the struggle. You need the resistance. You need the failure. Every time you fail and you force yourself to get back up, you are building a layer of mental armor that no one can pierce. You are becoming a person who cannot be broken. Think about the people you admire. You think they got there because they were lucky. You think they got there because they were special. No, they got there because they were willing to outwork you. They were willing to stay in the gym longer. They were willing to study while you were partying. They were willing to fail 1,000 times while you were too afraid to try once. They forced themselves until excellence became their baseline. And you can do the same, but you have to stop negotiating with your own standards. You have to stop telling yourself that it is okay to take a day off just because you are not in the mood. The mood does not matter. The mission matters. Your feelings are like the weather. They change every hour. 1 minute it is sunny and you feel like a champion. The next minute it is raining and you feel like a loser. If you let the weather dictate your progress, you will never get anywhere. You have to be the climate. You have to be consistent regardless of the conditions. This requires a level of discipline that most people will never understand. They will call you obsessed. They will call you cold. They will tell you that you are missing out on life. Let them talk. They are watching from the sidelines while you are on the field. They are commenting on your life while you are building it. You have to be willing to be misunderstood. You have to be willing to be the person who works while everyone else plays. Because one day, you will be the one who can play while everyone else has to work. You are paying the price now so you can own the future. But the price must be paid in full. There are no discounts on greatness. You cannot give 50% and expect 100% of the reward. You have to give everything. You have to empty the tank every single day. And when you think you are empty, you have to find that extra 5% that you did not know was there. That extra 5% is where the magic happens. That is where you separate yourself from the pack. That is where you prove to the universe that you are serious. Most people are just interested. They are not committed. There is a huge difference. When you are interested, you do it when it is convenient. When you are committed, you do it no matter what. You have to be committed to your own evolution. You have to be committed to the vision of yourself that you saw in your dreams. And you have to be willing to murder the person you are today so the person you want to become can live. It sounds harsh, does it not? It sounds brutal. But that is the reality of transformation. You cannot take your old habits into your new life. You cannot take your old friends into your new circle if they are not growing with you. You cannot take your old mindset into your new kingdom. You have to be willing to let go of the shore if you want to cross the ocean. Stop holding on to the things that are weighing you down. Stop holding on to the safety of the past. The past is a ghost. It has no power over you unless you give it power. The only thing that matters is what you do right now. The only thing that matters is the decision you make in this moment. Are you going to force yourself to be better? Or are you going to settle for being comfortable? Remember, the world does not owe you anything. It does not care about your potential. It only cares about your performance. It only cares about what you bring to the table. And right now, your table is empty because you have been waiting for someone to serve you. Get in the kitchen. Do the work. Prepare the meal. Force yourself to become the person who provides value. Force yourself to become the person who commands respect. Not through your words, but through your results. Results are the only thing that cannot be ignored. You can talk all day about what you are going to do, but nobody is listening until you do it. Let your success be your noise. Let your progress be your testimony. And when you feel like quitting, when the weight of the world is on your shoulders, I want you to remember one thing. You are not just doing this for you. You are doing this for the people who believe in you. You are doing this for the ancestors who sacrificed so you could have this opportunity. You are doing this for the future version of you who is counting on you to not give up. Do not let them down. Do not let yourself down. You are made of stars and dirt and divine fire. You have the power of the Creator inside of you. But that power is useless if you do not use it. It is like a Ferrari parked in a garage with no fuel. It looks good, but it is not going anywhere. You have to provide the fuel. The fuel is your will. The fuel is your grit. The fuel is your refusal to be ordinary. So light the fire, start the engine, and force yourself to move. Do not look back. The past has nothing new to tell you. Look forward. The future is an open book, and you are the author. Write a story worth reading. Write a story of a person who refused to stay down. Write a story of a person who looked at the impossible and said, "Is that all you got?" Write a story of a person who forced themselves into greatness. This is your life. This is your movie. Make it a masterpiece. Now, let us talk about the mirror. I want you to look deep into your own eyes and realize that you are currently engaged in the most dangerous negotiation of your life. Every single day, you sit across the table from your own weakness and you try to strike a deal. You try to bargain for a little more time, a little more comfort, a little more slack. You tell yourself that you will start the diet after the weekend. You tell yourself you will make the investment when the market is perfect. You tell yourself you will speak your truth when the room feels safer. But let me tell you what you are actually doing. You are selling your soul for pennies. You are trading your destiny for a moment of ease. And the most terrifying part is that you have become so good at lying to yourself that you actually believe your own excuses. You have wrapped your fear in the language of logic. You call it being practical. You call it being careful. You call it waiting for the right opportunity. But I call it cowardice. I call it a slow suicide of the spirit. You were not designed to be a spectator in your own existence. You were designed to be the protagonist. You were designed to take hits, to bleed, to learn, and to conquer. But you cannot conquer anything until you conquer the man in the mirror. You have to stop being a fan of other people's success and start being the architect of your own. Stop watching the highlight reels of people who had the courage to force themselves while you sit in the shadows of your own doubt. Those people are not better than you. They are not smarter than you. They just stopped negotiating. They decided that the price of their dream was non-negotiable. They decided that they were going to show up regardless of the pain, regardless of the criticism, and regardless of the odds. And you have to make that same decision today. You have to realize that your life is a reflection of the standards you tolerate. If you tolerate a messy house, you will live in a mess. If you tolerate a toxic relationship, you will live in poison. If you tolerate a mediocre performance at your job, you will live a mediocre life. It is that simple. To change your life, you have to raise your standards. You have to decide that good enough is no longer acceptable. You have to force yourself to reach for the impossible until it becomes your new normal. This requires you to be ruthless with your time, Time is the only thing you can never get back. Once a second is gone, it is gone forever. It is a grain of sand falling through an hourglass that you cannot flip over. How much of that sand have you wasted on things that do not matter? How much time have you spent trying to impress people who do not even like you? How much time have you spent worrying about things you cannot control? Stop it. Redirect that energy into your own growth. Force yourself to be disciplined with your focus. Focus is the superpower of the 21st century. If you can control your attention, you can control your life. But most of you have an attention span that is being shredded by distractions. You are a slave to the notification, a slave to the trend, a slave to the opinions of strangers. You have to reclaim your mind. You have to force yourself to sit in the silence and do the deep work. You have to be willing to be bored. You have to be willing to be frustrated. You have to be willing to be confused. That is where the breakthroughs happen. They do not happen while you are mindlessly scrolling. They happen when you are pushing against the limits of your own understanding. And let us talk about your circle. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If you are hanging out with 4 losers, you are going to be the 5th. If you are hanging out with 4 people who have no ambition, who complain about everything, and who blame the world for their problems, you are going to become just like them. You have to force yourself to walk away from people who no longer fit the future you are building. It is not about being mean. It is about being honest. You cannot fly with eagles if you are hanging out with chickens. You need to find people who make you feel uncomfortable because they are doing so much more than you. You need to find people who challenge your excuses and hold you to a higher standard. You need to find people who are already where you want to be. And if you cannot find them, be alone. It is better to be alone and moving forward than to be in a crowd that is standing still. Solitude is where greatness is forged. It is where you find out who you really are when the lights are off and the crowd is gone. Most people are terrified of being alone because they do not like the person they are with. They use noise and people to drown out the silence of their own emptiness. But you need to embrace the silence. You need to force yourself to face your own thoughts. You need to look at your flaws without blinking, and then you need to do the work to fix them. This is not a hobby. This is not a part-time job. This is a full-time commitment to excellence. You have to be the person who shows up early and stays late. You have to be the person who does the extra rep, the extra page, the extra call. You have to be the person who obsesses over the details. Because the details are what separate the good from the great. Excellence is not an act, it is a habit. It is something you do every single day until it becomes part of your DNA. It is the way you make your bed. It is the way you speak to people. It is the way you handle your finances. It is the way you treat your body. Everything is connected. How you do one thing is how you do everything. If you are cutting corners in the small things, you will collapse in the big things. You have to force yourself to be a person of integrity. You have to do the right thing even when nobody is watching. Especially when nobody is watching. That is how you build true self-trust. And when you trust yourself, you become dangerous. You become a force of nature. You stop looking for external validation because you have the internal confirmation of your own character. You know that you are built for this. You know that you have paid the price in the dark, so you deserve to shine in the light. But do not get comfortable. Comfort is a slow poison. The moment you think you have made it, you have already started to lose. You have to stay hungry. You have to stay humble. You have to keep forcing yourself to find a new level. There is always another mountain to climb. There is always a higher version of yourself to meet. Do not let your past successes become a cage for your future potential. Use them as a foundation, but keep building. The world is changing fast, and if you are not growing, you are dying. There is no middle ground. There is no such thing as staying the same. You are either evolving or you are rotting. Which one are you doing right now? Look at your actions over the last 24 hours. Do they reflect a person who is growing? Or do they reflect a person who is decaying? Be honest. The truth will set you free. But first, it will make you miserable. Let it make you miserable. Let that misery turn into a fire that consumes your excuses. Let it turn into a hunger that can only be satisfied by progress. You have the seeds of greatness inside of you, but seeds do not grow in a box. They grow in the dirt, under pressure, in the dark. You are in the dirt right now. The pressure is on. The world is dark. This is your time to grow. This is your time to force your way through the soil and reach for the sun. Do not let the weight of the earth hold you down. Break through. Force yourself. Now, I want to talk to you about the anatomy of the struggle. You need to understand that the resistance you feel is not a sign to stop. It is a compass. It is showing you exactly where you need to go. If it were easy, everybody would be doing it. The reason the top is so quiet is because the climb is loud and painful, and most people cannot stomach the sound of their own lungs burning. You have to learn to love the burn. You have to learn to find peace in the middle of the storm. Most people pray for their burdens to be lightened, but I am telling you to pray for your back to be strengthened. Do not ask for an easier life. Ask to be a stronger man. Ask to be a woman who cannot be shaken by the winds of circumstance. You see, the world is going to throw everything it has at you. It is going to give you heartbreak. It is going to give you financial loss. It is going to give you betrayal and disappointment. And in those moments, you have two choices. You can crumble and become a victim, or you can force yourself to use that pain as fuel. Pain is the greatest energy source in the universe. If you can learn to harness it, you will become unstoppable. Think about a diamond. A diamond is just a piece of coal that handled stress exceptionally well. It sat under thousands of pounds of pressure for a long time, and it did not break. It transformed. That is what you are doing right now. The pressure you feel in your life is not there to crush you. It is there to turn you into something precious. But you have to stay in the fire. You cannot run away when things get hot. You have to force yourself to stand still and let the heat burn away everything that is not essential. Burn away the ego. Burn away the laziness. Burn away the need for approval. What is left after the fire is the real you, the raw you, the powerful you. And that version of you does not need a pep talk. That version of you does not need a motivational video. That version of you is a predator of problems. You wake up and you look for challenges because you know that challenges are the only way you grow. You have to change your relationship with discomfort. Stop seeing it as an enemy and start seeing it as a coach. When your muscles ache, that is the coach telling you that you are getting stronger. When your mind is tired from studying, that is the coach telling you that you are getting smarter. When your heart is heavy from a difficult decision, that is the coach telling you that you are developing character. Most people are running away from the very things that would make them great. They are seeking a life of leisure and wonder why they feel so empty. Leisure is for the dead. Growth is for the living. You have to be willing to be the person who chooses the hard path every single time. If there are two ways to do something, take the one that requires more of you. Force yourself to be the person who does not take the easy way out. Because the easy way out always leads to a dead end. It leads to a life of could have, should have, would have. And that is a prison you do not want to live in. You have to understand that your brain is wired for survival, not for success. Your brain wants to keep you in the cave where it is safe and warm. It is constantly scanning for danger, and it sees your dreams as a threat because they require you to leave the cave. You have to be the master of your brain. You have to be the captain of your soul. When your brain tells you to stay in the cave, you have to force yourself to step out into the cold. You have to tell your brain, I hear you, I know you are trying to protect me, but we are going anyway. This is the essence of courage. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the mastery of it. It is moving forward while your knees are knocking. It is speaking your truth while your voice is trembling. It is taking the leap when you cannot see the landing. You have to be willing to look like a fool. You have to be willing to fail in public. You have to be willing to be the person who gets laughed at because you tried and missed. Because the person laughing from the stands has no skin in the game. They are a coward who is too afraid to even step onto the field. Their opinion is worth nothing. The only opinion that matters is yours and the opinion of the people who are in the arena with you. Surround yourself with warriors. Surround yourself with people who are covered in the same dust and blood as you. People who understand that the struggle is the prize. You have to force yourself to stay focused on the long game. We live in a world of instant gratification. Everyone wants the microwave results. They want the overnight success. They want the clickbait life. But anything built quickly can be destroyed quickly. If you want something that lasts, you have to build it slow. You have to build it with integrity. You have to build it with a foundation that goes deep into the earth. This means you have to force yourself to be patient. Patience is not waiting. Patience is how you behave while you are working for what you want. It is maintaining your standards when the results are invisible. It is staying true to your vision when everyone else is doubting you. It is the quiet confidence that comes from knowing that the law of cause and effect is real. If you put in the work, the results will come. They have no choice. The universe is a mathematical machine. If you provide the input, the output is guaranteed. But you have to provide the input every single day. You cannot skip a day and expect the math to work. You have to force yourself to be the most consistent person in the room. Consistency is the great equalizer. It beats talent. It beats luck. It beats intelligence. A person who shows up every day and puts in the work will eventually outrun the person who is brilliant but lazy. You have to be the turtle in the race. Slow, steady, and relentless. Never stopping, never complaining, just moving. Force yourself to find joy in the process. Stop obsessing over the finish line. The finish line is just a moment. The process is your life. If you do not enjoy the grind, you will never make it to the glory. You have to learn to love the smell of the gym. You have to learn to love the silence of the late night study session. You have to learn to love the friction of a difficult conversation, because that friction is where the heat is. And that heat is what creates the fire of transformation. You are a creator. You are an artist. And your life is the canvas. Do not paint a boring picture. Do not use dull colors. Use the vibrant reds of passion and the deep blues of discipline. Paint a story of a person who overcame. Paint a story of a person who forced themselves into a new reality. And do not worry about the critics. They are just people who are mad that they gave up on their own paintings. Keep painting. Keep forcing. Keep becoming. The world is waiting for your masterpiece, but it will not paint itself. You have to pick up the brush. You have to force yourself to stand in front of the canvas when you have no ideas. You have to force yourself to make the first stroke, and then the next, and then the next, until one day you look back and you realize that you have created something beautiful, something that matters, something that will last long after you are gone. This is your mission. This is your purpose. Now get to work. This is the final stretch. This is where the separation happens. Most people can start a race, and some can even run the middle, but very few have the heart to finish it with a sprint. I want you to look at your hands right now and realize that everything you have ever dreamed of, everything you have ever prayed for, is sitting right there, waiting for you to have the courage to grasp it. But you have been keeping your hands open, waiting for someone to drop a miracle into your palm. Stop waiting for a miracle and start becoming one. You have to understand that the version of you that started this journey is gone. You have been forged in the fire of these words, and you can never go back to being the person who was satisfied with maybe. You are now a person of must. You have to realize that the world is not going to get any easier. The obstacles are not going to disappear. The critics are not going to stop talking. In fact, the higher you climb, the louder the wind blows. But it does not matter how hard the wind blows if the house is built on a foundation of rock. And your foundation is your will. Your foundation is the fact that you are a person who forces themselves. This is the ultimate freedom, when you no longer need to be in the mood. To be great, you are truly free. You are no longer a slave to your hormones, your emotions, or your environment. You are the architect. You are the king of your internal kingdom. I want you to think about the legacy you are leaving behind starting today. When you walk into a room, do people feel the weight of your discipline? Do they see the fire of a person who has overcome themselves? You have a responsibility to be a light in a world that is drowning in the dark of mediocrity. You have a responsibility to show the people around you what is possible when a human being decides to stop making excuses. Think about your children, or the children you will have. Do you want them to see a parent who settled for good enough? Or do you want them to see a giant who looked at every wall and forced their way through it? You are teaching people how to live by the way you live. Every time you hit that alarm and get up, you are teaching the world that you are in control. Every time you finish the work when you are exhausted, you are proving that the spirit is stronger than the flesh. You have to be the living proof. And here is the brutal truth. If you don't do this, if you walk away from this moment and go back to your old life, you are not just failing yourself. You are failing every person who could have been inspired by your victory. You are choosing to be a warning instead of an example. Don't be a warning. Don't be the person people point to when they talk about wasted talent. Be the person they point to when they talk about what is possible. The clock is ticking, and it never stops for anyone. You don't have time to be uninspired. You don't have time to be tired. You don't have time to be uncertain. Uncertainty is just fear in a suit. Strip it off and move. The path is clear. You know what you have to do. You have always known. You just wanted it to be easier. But it's not going to be easy. It's going to be the hardest thing you've ever done, and that's why it's worth it. That's why the reward is so sweet. Because when you finally stand on that mountaintop and you look back at the valleys you crawled through and the storms you weathered and the moments you almost quit but didn't, you will feel a level of pride that most people will never know. You will realize that you didn't just achieve a goal, you conquered a soul. You conquered your own lower nature. And that is the greatest victory any human being can ever achieve. So go out there and be the predator. Hunt your goals. Hunt your dreams. Force yourself to be the most disciplined, most focused, most relentless person in your zip code. Don't ask for permission. Don't wait for a sign. You are the sign. You are the answer to your own prayers. Every single breath you take is an opportunity to choose again. Choose greatness. Choose growth. Choose the hard path. Because the hard path is the only one that leads to a life that matters. This is your life. This is your one shot. Don't you dare waste it on being comfortable. Force yourself, push yourself, elevate yourself, and never ever look back. You were born for this. Now go out there and prove it. The world is waiting for you to show up. Not the old you, but the you that forces things into existence. The version of you that doesn't take no for an answer. The version of you that is destined for the stars. It is time. Get to work.